everybody, this is Derek from Eternal Paranormal. This summer I've got an all-new series out called The Ghostly Encounters, where I conduct one-on-one interviews with different people talking about their paranormal experiences. So if you want to go out on an adventure with me, let's just go see what they got to say. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we are live and we have a special guest trio for you guys today. We're going to be talking to them about their first experiences with paranormal, and we're going to be talking to them about much more, kind of like how they got into the field and everything else. So without further ado, let's introduce you guys to Everything Vaguely Paranormal. What's up, guys?
Hi.
What's happening, man?
What's going on?
You sexy thing. How are you tonight?
I'm pretty damn good. How are you?
I know you are, boy.
Shelly,
How are you?
flattery will get you nowhere.
By the end of this video, I feel like I'm going to have an accent.
You might. It's been known to happen to a few people.
Yeah, that's funny. So I wanted to get you guys on here with Ghostly Encounters to talk to you guys each about what it was for your very first paranormal experience, kind of like what made you believe in the paranormal. So let's first off start off with Blake.
So for me, the very first thing that I ever had happen to me, so when I was in about 8th grade, I was about 13 years old, my great grandmother passed away, and it was a couple of days after her funeral, after she had passed, that I was, obviously dealing with grief and all that stuff as a kid and everything, but laying in bed and I wake up and she is standing at the foot of my bed, and it was full-fledged her, no question about it. My brain did that thing where it was like, oh, it's you. Wait, you're dead, like real quick,
Right.
in a split second. And from there, it was kind of, I don't know, it just gave me this idea. I was like, there's something else past this. This is not, even at that young of an age, like I realized, I'm like, this is not the only, I guess, form of life, quote unquote, that is out there. There's something past what we're experiencing now. And so I just started really kind of getting into it, watching shows, reading things, until eventually I got into what I like to call the mom and pop investigations, little here and there investigations of small places. And then I linked up with these two. Oh, Lord. So that's kind of what really got my attention, was at such a young age, just experiencing this phenomenon of seeing my great grandmother at the foot of my bed in a couple of days. I think it was like 2 or 3 days after she had passed. And I was like, what the hell? Like, this ain't normal. This ain't right.
Right. A lot of people, I feel like when they're like at a young age, I feel like you're more prone to see like full-bodied apparitions and stuff. I don't know what it is, but like when I talk to different people, they all have kind of the same response. It's like, yeah, I seen a body apparition. I seen like a full-figured spirit, and it's kind of a question. It's like, is it because our brains are kind of like still developing at that kind of like at a young age, where they know that they can kind of like, do they know that they can see us, or that we can see them?
I think it kind of stems from as you get older, especially like in the area that I was raised in, certain things are taboo when it comes to the spiritual world. It's not as openly talked about. No, you don't believe in that. No, you can't think that way. Spirits are not, it's not spirits that you're communicating with. I've heard all of that growing up. And so right. I think you reach a certain age as you're maturing, that all of that starts to make you kind of become jaded to the spiritual world. And then whenever we have experiences as adults, then we have to unlearn all of that stuff and go, okay, I wasn't wrong. This isn't the wrong way of thinking. So I think it has something to do with that. I think children are the most innocent. Children are the ones that are born into this world believing in everything. There's no limitations to their brains. Right. And then over time, we're just taught not to believe in this stuff, or that it's wrong or bad. And so we kind of start shutting that off as we get older. I think that's
a good point.
Yeah.
Right. They kind of stomp it out of you.
Yeah.
And then you go back, and then you go back and it's like,
Mhm.
I was right the whole damn time. Like I knew it.
It's like, I knew I saw that sumbitch in the corner.
How could you lie? How could you lie? No. All right, Ryan. So how about you, bud? What was your first experiences?
Okay. Well, my first experience that I ever remember having. So I'll start off with this. My grandfather. I'm from North Carolina originally. My grandfather grew up in Eastern North Carolina, and had a plethora of stories of things that happened to him when he was growing up and happened to family members. And so that's kind of what sparked my interest initially. But the first encounter I remember having, I was a kid and we moved into this house out in the country, and me and my dad were the only two in the house. And I remember us sitting in the living room. All of a sudden, the faucet in the bathroom turns on by itself. And you had to turn that faucet to get it to turn on. I mean, there's nothing like, it wasn't one of those little ones where like you barely bat it, like you had to turn it.
Right.
And we both look at each other, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and I was like, go turn it off. He goes, you go turn it off. I said, no, you go turn it off. And he's like, I ain't turning it off. So I had to be the one to be brave and go down the hallway and turn it off. I was not happy about it in the slightest. So that was like the first experience that I remember having. But like my most profound experience that kind of led me down the path to do what I'm doing now. I was about 17 or 18 years old. I was in high school or just coming out of high school. And I had a girlfriend in the town over, and I was pretty good friends with her family. And I would go and spend the weekends over there all the time. Now, I am a night owl. I have always been up late. I always go to bed super late. And everyone in the house was asleep. And out of respect for her dad, I'm not going to sleep in the bed with his daughter and under his roof, unless he says it's okay. So I'm going to go sleep in the guest room.
Right.
And so I go into the guest room, and I turn the television on, and I turn the lamp on. And as I turn to go turn the lamp out, I look into the hallway, and there is an old woman in a nightgown that walks into my girlfriend's bedroom.
Oh my gosh.
Now, she's as solid as me and you sitting here. I could see she had her hair permed. It was like a sandy, like brownish blonde perm, like the old women used to have back then, like the Golden Girls almost.
Right.
And I could see she had on glasses. I could see the glint, like her glasses glinted in the light as she walked past, and she was in a nightgown. I could see that much. And she just walked right into my girlfriend's bedroom. So immediately I think that maybe someone had broken into the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I jump up, I go into my girlfriend's bedroom, I flip on the light. My girlfriend is asleep on her bed. I check her closet. There's no one in the closet. Her mom is asleep in her room. Her dad is asleep on the couch. And I check all the doors and the windows in the house. And I'm like, I don't know what that was. I guess I just saw a ghost. And the next morning, I wake up the next morning, and I talked to her dad, and I said, hey, so let me ask you a question. He said, what's up? I said, last night I saw this old woman. He goes, oh, you saw her? And I said, yeah. I was like, have you seen her? He's like, yeah. He said, I'll get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom, and I'll see her standing in the hallway sometimes. I'm like, okay, well, do you know who she might be? And there was an old couple who lived next door, and they were as old as the hills, and they had been there forever. And when they first moved into the house, they came over and told him, hey, just so you know, there was an old woman who lived here back in the 70s. A couple of guys broke in and robbed her and stabbed her to death. So that is who she was. So that immediately sparked my curiosity. I was like, okay, how did I see what I saw? I don't understand. I got to figure this out. And so that led me down the path of paranormal investigation. I wrote a whole paper about it when I was getting out of high school for my senior exit project. I did it a little bit in high school, and then I dabbled in and out, and then I ended up meeting Shelly on an investigation, and then we ended up meeting Blake, and then it just kind of gelled, and we picked up from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So with the lady in the gown, did she seem older, or
she was an old lady? She was an old lady. Like, I couldn't make out facial features. I just knew she had glasses. She had the perm. She had the nightgown. She went by pretty quick, but she was solid enough that I was able to see her. I couldn't see through her. She just went straight into the bedroom like a solid person.
I think it was your excuse to go into your girlfriend's bedroom.
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Well,
I think,
I didn't
mhm.
need an excuse. No.
No.
Oh
What was
God.
you?
They call that a menage.
Spooky.
A menage a boo. Mhm.
Did she look? Hey, did she look like the old lady off of Legion, that movie? Whenever she's like in the booth and she's like, "Your baby's gonna burn out."
Oh no, no! Like I said, she looked like one of the Golden Girls almost. Like that's how,
okay.
that's what I thought immediately, you know. But I thought like, but you know, and thinking someone broke in, I'm like, what the hell's an old lady doing breaking into this house? You know, it didn't,
Right.
like it didn't hit me until after the fact. I check everything, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess I just saw a ghost.
I like how immediately you thought some old woman had just like busted down the window in her walker or whatever, and
Dude,
just walked right in the house.
Dude, that's the only thing that made sense to me because I was like, I know I didn't hear the doors open. I didn't, you know, everyone else is accounted for. What the hell could that have been, you know?
I'm here for my missing tennis ball off my walker.
Yeah, no kidding.
Have you seen my Geritol? So that's how it happened, man.
Heck yeah. So, Shelly, what was your very first paranormal experience?
Hi, my name is Shelly. I'm a spiritual trauma survivor. You know, these guys had rather nice experiences compared to mine. I was 4 years old, and the house I lived in, you know, my parents used to say that they would go, this child never sleeps. And there's pictures of my mother sitting absolutely dog-ass tired in a rocking chair with her foot on my crib, and me looking over my crib. It's like 3 a.m. because I wouldn't sleep. But every night, whenever they would put me to bed, I would watch what my little 4-year-old brain interpreted as goats walking back and forth in front of my room. And I watched them do it every night. And I would get up in the morning and I would tell my mother, please don't let the goats in tonight. You know, the goats kept me awake. My mother's like, we don't have any goats. We live in the country, but we don't have any goats. And I'm like, well, somebody's letting in goats. And Mom was like, okay, whatever. And so my mother wasn't listening. And if it was like one night or 2 nights, I would go bad dream. But this was every night. As soon as all the lights were out and the house got completely quiet, I would see these little figures go back and forth across in front of my room door. Now, they never came into my room. So, you know, when my mother wouldn't listen, I told my dad, I'm like, Daddy, can you please not let in the goats? And my dad's looking at my mother going, something's wrong with this child. We don't have any goats. Where is she getting the idea we have goats? And so that happened like every night. And I would wait until there was like a little break in the herd. And I would always run to my parents' room, and I would try to be very quiet because I knew they would take me back to my room if I woke them up. And the last night I ever stayed in that room, something was different. The goats were going back and forth like they always did, but one of them stopped. And it kind of came up on 2 feet. And then it did this, and it went up the side of the door frame, and then it perched. It spread out, and it looked at me, and it was up in that top corner of that door frame. Well, I had my little stuffed puppy dog and my stuffed kitty cat that I slept with, and I gathered them under my arms, and I was getting ready to run because I was going to run and run out and run into my parents' room. And I didn't care if I woke them up because I was so scared. And I had a Mrs. Beasley doll that sat on the end of my bed that my aunt had given me. And I hate dolls, hate them. And Miss Beasley, if you don't know what that is, it's a vinyl head, vinyl head, but it's a cloth body doll. So I was getting ready to run, and all of a sudden my Mrs. Beasley doll fell off the bed. Cloth body doll, it should fall and stop. It fell, it rolled over across the room into the wall and stopped. That was all it took. I hopped out, I ran, I ducked to get underneath whatever this was that was up in the corner, and ran and got in the bed with my parents and was begging them not to make me go back. And they didn't make me go back that night. But every night after that, as soon as they would go to bed, I went and I laid on the couch and I slept on the couch. My parents just wake up and see me sleeping on the couch and just figure, okay, whatever. When my little brother was born, they tried to put him in that room because they'd given up putting him in it. And he would scream and scream and scream all night long. He wouldn't sleep in there. So we had a pull-out couch. And so until I was 9 and he was 5, he and I shared the pull-out couch in the living room every night. It got pulled out, and it happened every night. We could watch them go back and forth until we moved out of the house. So, yeah, mine was little.
That's crazy. And you don't know that, like, anything, like any reason behind that, or
No reason at all. No reason at all.
You know, and it kind of tracks because me and Blake got nice little old lady, Meemaw, Satan over here.
There is a reason we call her
Yeah.
Satan's mistress, okay?
But I will tell you that in the long run, it ultimately helped me, because I've always been interested in it. I've always been, you know, I've always wanted to explore and understand. And I was that weird kid. I was reading on a 12th grade level in 4th grade. And so my mother always told me I could buy books as long I could do anything I wanted to with my allowance as long as I bought books. You know, it was kind of like that caveat. I was reading the story about the Manson murders and Ted Bundy stuff. And my mother would be like, "What are you reading?" I'm like, "You said I could buy whatever I wanted to as long as I bought books." And so I was always interested in it. But after that moment, that night, even at my little 4-year-old brain, I decided I was never going to be afraid of it again. And
Right.
that I was not going to be afraid of whatever it was, because at 4 years old, I was scared and I didn't like that feeling. And I decided I was not ever going to be scared of anything that came at me again. And for the most part, I'm not. There's some moments I hesitate. I'm like, what the hell is this? But I make a point not to be scared of it anymore. I don't let it have that kind of power over me. So that taught me a very valuable lesson very early, that I'm not going to let it have that kind of control and power.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right. I can kind of relate to that. One time, I was probably about like maybe 8 or 9, and I felt like there was something in my closet, and my bedroom was literally right next to mine, separated by a door. And I don't know what it was, but I remember, if I just think back, I got up and I confronted it. I was scared, but I did confront it. And I said, okay, like I went into the closet and I'm like, I'm not scared of you. Like I've never this was even before my very first paranormal experience myself. I didn't even think about spirits and ghosts, and they didn't talk about that. It wasn't a thing with us back then, and something just would always frighten me. And I just got up one day and it was in the middle of the night and went to the closet and I'm like, all right, come on, let's go. Like, I'm not scared of you. And I think at that breaking point, I think I wasn't scared anymore. I think it takes stepping up to your fears.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
You have to step up to your fears to actually get over them. And now, like, people can tell you, I get a little freaked out in locations that are pitch dark and total silence. I can't go by myself. I can't, there's just moments where if I'm not familiar with the place, I get this weary feeling like somebody's going to pop out, and I don't think it's like so much spirit, but like just feeling like there's somebody there that's going to like pop out, I guess, but it's still eerie when you get that dead silence. You guys ever been to a place that's been so quiet where it's just like, it's dead silence? Like it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of eerie, right?
Oh, it is. And it kind of to jump off of what you said a minute ago, you have to confront these fears. You have to confront these things, because I tell people all the time, it's like if you go to a haunted attraction, if you act scared or you are scared, they're going to mess with you even harder. So you kind of gotta, gotta hold your ground. That being said, too, like if anybody tells you that does this type of work that they're not scared, they're lying to you, because there are times when you do not want to go down that hallway because you know what's down there, but you got.
But that's when you have to,
right?
Yeah, you have to take that fear and you have to channel it into something you can use. I like to channel it into being excited and go, "Come on, let's talk, let's chat." I mean, I like to, and yeah, you do. You get. I won't necessarily say scared. You get apprehensive. You have a little bit of trepidation.
Right.
I don't ever want to call it fear. That seems like it's giving it control. But yeah, you get that moment of hesitation, caution, and respect, where you kind of go, okay, listen, I'm going to respect you. You come correct, and so will I.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I always let Shelly lead with me one step behind, because she's got the biggest balls out of everybody on this team.
The women always do. Alicia goes, any of you experienced sleep paralysis and been attacked in your sleep and had bruises like handprints that wouldn't go away for months? That was what I went through a long time ago. I'm not one to talk to back down no more. or let something scare me.
I actually have. Right before we went to Yorktown, the day before,
Hey,
I'd
Lily.
been having dreams about it, and I literally woke up and I had a handprint that was on my hand, that was
yeah.
on my leg, on the inside of my thigh, and
Yeah.
it was probably. I mean, I took a picture of it. I sent it to the guys. I'm like, oh my
Mhm.
god. As I say, I blame Shelly. But yeah, I had this big handprint, and I took a picture of it, and just I put my hand up against it, and it was quite a bit bigger than mine. And I took pictures, showed these guys, and I'm like, that is not my hand. I don't know where that came
Mm-mm.
from, and why they touching my thigh like that, you weirdo. Buy me dinner first, you know. Jesus.
Well, in a reverse roles here, where Shelley's usually the and where Shelley's usually the one getting the worst of it. In this instance, I think I've gotten the worst of it being attacked
Oh yeah.
in bed. With Yorktown as well. Yorktown is a different beast. It is
Mhm.
Yes.
one that we do not take lightly. It is one everybody we take everybody to. It is we tell them don't play here. And
Yeah, don't
I
play.
learned
This is not
that
your come at me, bro moment. No.
No.
I learned that lesson the second time I was there. We were back maybe a week afterwards, somewhere in there. And I usually fall asleep with a big 70-inch TV that's on in my bedroom. And so it lights up basically the whole room. I have to have that background noise. And so I start having a dream. I'm dead asleep. I start having a dream. I'm being drugged in my dream. And I wake up, blood curdling screams, waking myself up. And I am down in the bed. My arms are like stretched out, towards the headboard. Everything from my knee down to the bottom of my foot is off the foot of the bed. Whatever still had me, I can actually still feel holding onto my ankles. And the room is pitch black with a 70-inch TV that I went to sleep with it on. And so I just reached for my nightstand, grab holy water, and start slinging backwards and cussing the shit out of it and called it everything but a Christian and told it to leave. And it was like all of a sudden the light comes back into the room. I feel it let go of my ankles, and I jump up out of bed, go running down the hallway to the other person that was on the couch. And I was like, did you not hear me freaking screaming? And they're like, I didn't hear anything. I was like, how did you? I'm blood curdling screams back there. I was literally being drugged out of bed the moment that I woke up. And so that was probably, I ain't gonna lie, that was probably one of the most terrifying moments I've ever experienced. It was just, it really cemented for me just how dangerous this can get.
Mm-hmm.
That was the moment that I was like, oh shit, we're not playing with, little granny that, you see disappear into a girlfriend's room. This is
No.
this is the big dogs,
Yeah.
And Yorktown in particular, and this is a place that we love to go to this place. It always shows off. But the paranormal hangover coming back from Yorktown is
Oh
very
my
real.
God.
It will
Yeah.
take everything out of you. And I think at some point we've all been followed home with something home from Yorktown. I think the time prior to the last that we went, I had been sleeping in bed, and I just like, how you just like startle awake. You just all of a sudden you're awake. And I woke up and I see something standing at the end of my bed, and I'm like, you get out of here and go home. And I pulled the covers up because covers are magic. That saves you from anything coming at you. And I looked again and it was gone. So the next night comes, and again, I startle awake and there's something standing at the end of my bed. And so now I'm getting irritated. I'm like, you need to get the hell out of here. Go home. You don't belong here. And I pulled the covers up because they're magic. And I looked and he was gone again. I'm like, yes, that works. Okay.
Go on, get.
Well, he showed up the third night. I was startled awake again. And here he is. He's standing at the foot of my bed. At this point, I'm irritated. I was like, look, either get the fuck in the bed or get the fuck out. I'm trying to get some sleep. And boom, he was gone. He didn't want to get in bed with him. I didn't see him again. He didn't want to get in bed with me. I'm like, to be gone. Poof. Get out of here.
Says the good old ostrich method.
Yeah. I can't see it. It can't see me.
That's
Exactly.
right. The covers are magic. The covers are
Bill
magic.
Walker says, damn, Blake, I don't scare you. I got you. I got to try harder next time.
Bring it.
He's always scared me, man. Bill's always trying to scare me. It's funny. I think 9 times out of 10 he gets me.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, what happened if Broadhead stays at Broadhead? I'm sorry. You're right. It does. So the sleep paralysis thing, I've only experienced it one time.
Mhm.
I don't know what I was dreaming about. I don't remember, but all I remember is waking up and not being able to move. Like I was seriously pinned to my bed, and it scared the shit out of me because I was awake and I was alert, but I was trying to get up. Like your brain's telling you, you got to get up, you got to do stuff. Your brain tells you like every movement that you make. And I'm thinking, holy shit. And then it was probably about, I don't know, maybe like a minute later, I kind of woke up out of it and I was able to, I thought I was paralyzed. It scared me. It really did.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was. I didn't really look too much into it. I just kind of went on with my life and that was it. But it only happened to me one time. I don't know if that was anything to do with paranormal or not, but I was like, okay, well, I don't want that happening to me again.
I think the actual sleep paralysis, I don't think I've ever gotten. I don't sleep enough in a row I think, to get that.
I was gonna say, Shelly, you don't sleep. So
I don't sleep. That's the truth. So people can message me at 3:30 in the morning and I answer. It's like, they're like, what are you doing up? I'm like, I'm always up. I sleep in like 30, 45-minute segments. So yeah, I don't sleep.
Yeah. So
a demon attacking you.
Attacked by dreaming of a demon attacking you. Oh
wow.
Yeah, that story. Damn. But you know what? There's one dream that I had where I was like literally running away from like a spider or something, and Alicia was driving and it was in a car, and then I like ran out of the car for some reason. And I got up, I woke up and I started running down the hallway. It was
You gotta move, they gonna get you.
She gonna have to tie you to the bed. That can lead to fun stuff too, so don't worry.
Ron actually had sleep paralysis last weekend. All right, guys. So I'm gonna get down to some of the group questions that I had for you guys.
Sure.
How did you guys get together? What made
it's my fault.
It's all Shelly's fault.
Yeah. See what hell she hath wrought upon the world.
I was working with a haunted tour company, and we took people around, and I met Ryan first. Ryan came for his birthday, of all places, to Yorktown. And that was the first place that I'd met him. And Ryan, that was your first like official investigation, wasn't it? Official, like not just a tour, it was an investigation.
No, I had done a couple investigations before, but that was my first one with
a tour company.
With that tour company, yeah.
Anyway, I liked the way Ryan investigated, and I talked to the person who was my supervisor. I'm like, I want him on the team, and so we got Ryan on. And then it was 8 months later, or 9 months later 8 months later that we met Blake, and Blake also came to Yorktown for his birthday,
which was my first major.
Oh, ironic though, you know, like it was meant to be, right?
Yeah. And so Ryan and I got talking. We're like, we got to get him on the team. We like the way he investigates, and so we kind of all linked up, and then we're like, you know what, we can do this ourselves. We didn't like the big cattle call kind of thing. We wanted to keep our investigations very small, very private, so you could get away, so you could actually catch evidence. So we kind of formed our own, and we, you know, one of the first important things is you got to have a name, right?
Oh, this is my favorite.
So we're all trying to, and we're like, we want it to have something to do with paranormal. We want something cool that, you know, how you start thinking about your name. And Blake's like, yeah, you know, we should do something like EVP. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. And now Ryan's working, because Ryan always works. So Blake and I were just we were just rolling with it. Blake and I are on the phone, and we're like, okay, EVP, what can it stand for? E, everything, obviously. P, paranormal. Obviously, we're like, what's the B? So I pull out the Scrabble dictionary, and I look up 9-letter Scrabble words, and I'm like, how about everything vaginally paranormal? Like, well, that won't work. So I go down to the 7-letter Scrabble words, and I was talking to Blake. I'm like, hey, how about vaguely? And Blake's like, vaguely, everything vaguely paranormal. If it's vaguely paranormal, we can talk about it. He's like, yeah, I like it. I go, me too. I go, let's see if Brian wants to, but that's our name. So let's just see. Like, I love it.
They send it to me, and I look at it, and they misspelled it. It said vaguely paranormal. I said, what? Everything vaguely.
We did. It's been such a running fucking joke.
Yeah.
We've actually had the banner sent to us with it wrong. Yeah, we've
Tomato.
actually had
We did.
a banner sent with the spelling wrong on it, right, Blake?
Yeah,
Didn't they
it
send
was-
you a banner
it
with
was-
the wrong
No,
spelling?
they didn't send it. Ryan got me real good because I spent like I don't
Yeah.
know how long like getting this banner ready for one of the first Paracons we were going for, and we were down to like days before we went, and I sent a screenshot or a picture of it to them, and Ryan's like "Bagoogly," and I was like, "What?" And I like freaked out for a minute. I was like, "Oh, you asshole!"
So yeah, that's kind of how we became everything vaguely paranormal, and we go by EVPs. So
We'll also take everything vaginally paranormal too.
Yeah,
I
why
mean,
not?
it's totally fine.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure mine's haunted. I don't know. Just
Listen,
saying.
you minus the E and the U and add an A, you know, or whatever.
I'm telling you, you want to come investigate mine? It might be haunted. Hey, no, I'm playing.
It is a little spooky.
I say full of
It
cobwebs.
You don't know. You haven't been down there.
Damn, on
And creaks
live
when you
stream
open it,
too.
right?
Shit, Ryan.
That's all right.
Tiffy says, "Hey guys, miss you all."
Miss you too.
Sorry, we were busy talking.
Shut up, Chad from Go Ski.
Wow.
The more you know. That's right.
Caden
Shooting
can
star. You're gonna
the
learn
more you know.
everything
Yes.
with EVP. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for the bats. Hey, speaking of bats, I'm not shitting you guys. We did an investigation at the Rock Island Roadhouse, which is AKA the old YMCA.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And we were there over the last weekend on Saturday. And at one point of the night, me and Sean from X Eternal Wolfpack Paranormal Podcast, we were down in the basement. And here we go. She says, okay. So I'm following Sean. And we go through the, like, almost like where the basement part is. You go down that
Right.
long downstairs in the basement. And there was one bat that kind of flooped down, you know, and I was just one. Then all of a sudden, like 2 or 3 or 4 more come, like, just swarming like this, you know, and I'm just like this. I'm almost holding on to Sean from the back, you know. I'm like, I'm sorry, man, but I'm like, actually, I didn't even say I'm sorry. I was probably like more like,
Yeah.
I'm not even shitting you. And then one of them came at me, and I just took off the other way. I left Sean in the dust. I took off the other way like a bat out of hell. I said, "You've probably seen that guy never run so fast in your life."
She's picking them up and putting them down, huh?
Yeah.
Running.
Like, okay, so
You
like,
know, bats
upstairs.
are the bane of my I like bats. I think they're really cool. But if we go to a
Mhm.
haunted location, I'm going to find a damn bat. Like,
Yeah,
it's
you
going to come
are.
at my ass. And like, there's video of me at Ohio State Reformatory dodging bats at Indiana State Sanatorium. I had to
I was
go
gonna
and by
say
myself.
that has got to be my freaking
Mhm.
favorite one, Ryan, that you did. You literally just walked in on your
Mhm.
solo, and Ryan
Right.
turns the corner, and this bat, you see it on the IR camera, it comes right at it, and he goes, "Whoa, fucking bat!"
Yeah. Yeah. They were everywhere.
But then at Waverly Hills, you said that you got a video of one that's gonna like I don't dodge. I'm like they have
Mhm.
echolocation.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
not going to hit me.
Yeah,
You know?
Shelly on the
You
IR,
say that.
when I was reviewing that from my camera's point of view, I'm pointing the camera at Shelly, and I've got a good shot of like down the hallway just beyond her. She's right in front of the camera, and this bat comes swooping it above her head, and then it flies down, and you can see it actually turn around, and it comes back. And I've got it on film coming right at her. And in my head, I'm like, did Shelly get hit by a bat? I don't remember. This thing swoops in, and I shit you not, the tip of its wing misses Shelly's eye by about that much.
Mhm.
Oh my
And Shelly's just like, "Sir, are we going to the 4th floor or what?" Like, doesn't flinch, doesn't move. She's just like, whatever.
Yeah,
It's a bat. And you know,
I mean, but when you're walking through the dark and don't expect something to jump out at you and something really swoops in your face, you're going to duck and freak out a little bit.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
dude, you know, it's something that, you know, I don't really encounter bats all the time. So
Mhm.
at that moment, I just told Sean, I'm like, dude, I was like, dude, I gotta go. So I said, can we just go up and around and through all the other side of because there's 2 ways to get down there. And I'm looking up in my flashlight, and I got my flashlight on, and you can see one bat way up in the corner, and I got PTSD at this point. I'm just like, oh, He's like, don't put the flashlight at the thing because they have this light, and he said some science word. I don't know what he said at the time. But he said they sense they can't see in the dark. And I'm like, okay, but they can see my fat ass. I don't. But anyway, it didn't mess with us. So that was the route I took. I took that route, the scenic route. And, I just don't like bats, dude. Man. Oh,
we don't encounter them often, but we encountered a lot more of them when we were up north than we ever
did,
have
yeah.
in Texas. Yeah.
No, down here we got fucking armadillos, raccoons,
Skunks, tarantulas, snakes.
You know what's interesting though is us not encountering any bats in Texas because I live in Bat City. I live in Austin. And there is a bunch of bats underneath the bridge. You would assume there'd be a lot of bats all throughout Texas, but only time we've ever run into them is like Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky area.
Yep.
They are everywhere up there.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't do no. Armadillos. Okay, that ain't. I have another question for you guys.
Okay.
What is now? This is for each of you guys.
Okay.
What's your favorite piece of equipment that you like to use?
Paranormal equipment?
Yes.
Okay, just clarifying.
Jesus Christ, Shelly.
Just asking. I don't know what kind of show this is. This is my first time on it. I'm just clarifying.
I mean, if you want to answer that question too, Shelly, go for it.
Yeah. He's trying to have a nice family show, guys. I don't know.
That's already out the window.
Yeah, you shouldn't have asked us. Yeah, you shouldn't have asked us to be on.
I would say for me, and I'm probably gonna say it's probably the same for Shelly. I don't know, but the spirit box. I really enjoy using a spirit box because I like having that instant gratification. That instant, like, hey, I'm having a conversation with something.
So does Shelly.
So I really, really like using the spirit box because I'm a talker. I love to talk, so the conversation is really cool. I mean, and catching EVPs is cool. You go back and listen to them later, but you don't know if you're catching it in the moment or not. You have to go back and listen to it later. I like being able to play off of whatever's talking to me.
Right, I agree. I do like the ghost box. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Ryan's right. I saw that. I do like the spirit box. I have a spirit box that I really like to use because, again, for me being as deaf as I am, I like to be able to hear the voice, hear the inflection, hear the tone, and actually have a conversation.
Right.
I think I get a better idea of what I'm up against if I can hear how they say it.
Right.
So I do prefer that. And I love the Paralight as well. And if you don't know what a Paralight is, it's basically like a K2 meter, except it's vertical instead of horizontal. And if you can get it to light up, they have to get pretty close to it to set it off. And I love the Paralight too. So
I would say for me is something that not a lot of teams, I actually don't know any other team that has it, as Spirit Dice. That is something that I've grown very attached to probably over the last close to a year now. I like it because it's basically like a spirit box on an analog level. You basically pay. I love how Shelly puts it. You basically play Paranormal Boggle with them. I throw the dice and look for the words in the dice. And if you've never seen a set, I've actually got my set right here. I don't know if you can really see them, but they have letters, numbers, symbols. I know I got one that just fell over here, but anyways, I just basically throw them and then I look for the words that are spelled in the dice. It's just something I randomly picked up at Broadhead and got really good connection with them and just been growing with them ever since. And to me, it's a lot more validating. Like, for instance, at Yorktown, whenever I threw them, it said, I'm with Aunt, A-U-N-T. And my aunt was there. She's what we call our sometimes investigator. She goes with us sometimes. And I said, which aunt are you with? And I went to go shake them and throw them. I said, if it gives me your name, I said, that's going to be amazing. And I threw them down, and on video, on the camera, you can hear me go, are you shitting me? And it spells out R-H-O-N-D-A. And when we asked who was with her, it actually turned out to be her grandfather, my great-grandfather. It's just profound whenever that happens, when you get direct words in the dice. There's no, I don't know. How do you say, oh no, that's not spirit,
Well,
yeah, because I've seen you do it. I was going to say,
what I was going to go ahead.
I was gonna say I've seen a couple of videos of him demonstrating on how he was doing it, and I thought that was really unique because you can literally just make and it really does make like sentences, like short or words.
Yep.
And I'm very intrigued in that, and I'd like to next time I get to Broadhead, I'm gonna have to have. I think doesn't Ron make them?
Yes.
Ron does. Yeah,
Yes, he does.
He makes
Yeah.
those. So I have the.
Too.
Yeah, it was so if you want a set, definitely reach out to Broadhead or Bill or Ron, or you'll probably Sir Sexy. We call him Sir Sexy.
Yeah, Sir Sexy.
Bill Walter with Broadhead. You can reach out to them. They've got sets that they sell, and what Ron does in making those is fantastic. The energy that he puts on them and the intent that he puts behind them, I believe, is what makes it work so well. It's just something that like I said, randomly picked it up. I think it was their very first set that they ever made. And
Wow.
They just happened to be on the table, and I just picked up, started throwing. I just looked at Bill. I was like, I want these. Can I buy these? And he's like, that's our only set. So yeah, I guess you can. And I took the set that was just there,
Yeah. And what we like to put together, throwing the dice along with another piece of equipment, whether it's a Paralight, an SP7, and we kind of run experiments sometimes where we see if we can get the spirits to spell it out in the dice, and then we say, okay, can you give us that word we just got? It's been amazing how many times we've asked for a specific word. We're like, can you say this word? Uncover the spirit box, and it actually will say the word we just asked for. So you tell me how you get ITC and analog to match.
Yeah.
That I cannot
It's incredible. Yeah. So the first night when I was in Broadhead, it was actually the first night that we arrived at the Spirits in the Spring. Right. When I first met you guys, that was your first time ever using the dice?
No. I had been using them at that point for probably about 9 months at that point.
Okay, because I was like, you were doing it pretty good. And one of the things that, what you were just saying, Shelly, when I first met you guys, you welcomed me in, and I had my Book of Spells Ghost box.
I love that, cool. By the way.
That thing was neat.
Yeah. So it was really cool because you were talking with your spirit dice. We had the Epic box going. We had my Ghost box going for like probably a good 15 minutes. And everything that the Ghost box was saying in the Epic box, the yes or no, was literally lining up with those spirit dice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At the same, and not even meaning to, because you guys were doing your own thing at the end of the table, and we were over here doing our own, questions and stuff. But it was actually kind of like,
y'all would ask the question, and even though we were off doing our own little thing and asking and talking to different spirits over on the other, like, just a few feet away, I was getting y'all's answers on the spirit dice. So that was pretty interesting. Yeah.
So Alicia says, I have a question. If Derek, you don't have the question, what piece of equipment, program do you not like?
Dowsing rods. I don't like them. I mean, they work for some people, I guess. They just don't work for me. It's just not something I particularly care for. But hey, whatever works for you works for you. Like there are different people that can get them to work and get really interesting things with them. It's just not for me personally.
I would have to say, and I might catch a little bit of flack for this, but I don't like apps. I don't like cell phone apps. And that is strictly just a personal thing. I'm not dogging them whatsoever. As Ryan just said, if it works for you, great. I just have an issue with them because I want as much validation as I possibly can. And the fact that your cell phone has a microphone on it that could possibly and potentially be picking up your voice, that could potentially go into an algorithm to spit out a word. I don't know. I like to just nix that and just say, just to me, it's not as validating as if you're using different pieces of equipment like the spirit dice or spirit box by itself. I just think because it has a microphone on it, I question it. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason. So
the two the guys just said are the two that I don't care for. It's not that an app doesn't work, and probably the apps are probably my big thing. And again, like Blake said, the fact that it has an intake to give you an output.
Right.
I think that it can be, the algorithm is written to give you a result. Right. And dowsing rods, I think that it's too easy for somebody's hand to get shaky again, whether they mean to or not, perhaps no matter how hard they try, just slight motions can influence them.
Mhm.
I'd rather have something I sit down and walk away from it and say, okay, show me what you got. So that
Right.
I don't have to touch it. I'm not influencing it by what I say, what I do, or how I move.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Latest, movement. And I agree with all of you guys on that. And, one thing that comes to mind now that I'm thinking about this, I've never thought about this until just now. What if somebody made like a stand with like the handles to fit right into, like, they drill like holes in like a wooden stand that they can put the dowsing rods in, and then you could place it on a table and it's just very still. And then if it's moving,
that would definitely have more credibility.
Right.
However, you would have to make
Yeah.
sure that it was in a place where there was no movement, there was no electrical
No
current running under
wind.
it, could give it a slight
Right.
vibration, or not near some kind of air conditioning unit, could give off a slight vibration or something like that.
Right. Exactly.
Other than that, I think that could probably potentially work, but you
Yeah.
would have to make sure you put it in a spot where there wasn't any vibration from the location you're in affecting it.
Right.
Yeah. I could see that as well. To me, I would probably validate it just a little bit more, because you are
Right.
taking out the human element of it,
Right.
the possibility of a slight tremor, a shake, a vibration, or anything like that. And I
Right.
just saw the comment about the restricting your usage of the microphone on the app that Ghost Geeks put in, which is true. You could, but it's still, in my opinion, it's just because you have that microphone
algorithm.
there.
Yeah, in the algorithm.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I guess because I like to I'm very analytical with our stuff that we capture. Like, I want to make sure that there's not a question in anybody's mind whenever we go to say, hey, we can't debunk this,
Right.
therefore we're classifying as paranormal. We want to make sure that there's not a question. And microphones, hands with the dowsing rods, things like that, people are going to bring in and they're going to question. So if you can do anything to wipe out those elements and validate it a little
Right.
bit more, I'm totally game. Like, let's give it a
'cause
go. Let's try.
We're very hard on our evidence, and we kind of have
Right.
a rule that if even one of us thinks, no, there's a potential it could be this, then we chunk that piece of evidence, no matter how good it is.
Yep.
And so, two of the three of us can agree, but if one of us is going, it just doesn't look right, then guess what? That evidence never sees the light of day. And we have a lot of really good evidence that nobody
Right.
will ever see, because there's just something that one of us thinks takes away some credibility, so we don't show it. So if
Yep.
you see it,
Right.
it's because all three of us have gone, nope, I've thought of everything I can think of, and we
Mhm.
can't debunk it.
Yeah.
Just like the short clip that I seen a few weeks back that you guys were showing of and it was like, holy shit! It was was it a slap? There was a person.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes.
that was
Yeah.
that was
at Old Park.
that was at
That
Old
was
Park.
at
Yeah.
Old Park.
When I seen that, I was like, oh my god, that was me and Alicia were watching that together, and I was like, wow, dude, that's crazy. But you guys still had some. Did you guys still kind of you didn't like post it, right? Because
We did not post that one.
We
That
had it
one
for almost
has
a year
been,
and a half
yeah.
that we debated over it.
Yeah, we had it for about
Right.
a year and a half before we actually ever probably about a year actually before we ever
Something
showed
like that, yeah.
showed
April
it
of
to anybody.
2023. Yeah, April of
And
2023.
It wasn't until these past couple of Paracons that we've been to that we actually put it into the presentations that we do. And it's strictly for those who haven't seen it. The reason why we did not just throw it out there as quick as possible is because you hear this noise, you hear what sounds like a slap, and then the girl or the lady that's in the Estes method, we pull down her shirt and she's got a handprint right up, you know?
Yeah.
And it's solely because Ryan's filming and someone
behind me
touched that's behind him, and he goes from where it's happening, he turns and goes, you just got touched, and then he turns back to her, and I'm like, because it cut for that split second, we can't post this because somebody's going to go, oh well, it happened in that split second.
But at the end of the day, when we got looking at it, we're like, you know what? She was surrounded by people. There was a mirror behind her. I'm the only one with my hand on her. I'm not going to let anybody hit her. I'm just not. That's not going to happen.
And when you
look, I'm not going to hit her.
Yeah. And when you look, the way the handprints are the opposite direction of where anybody was standing around her. And it's that
but
was
it was
insane.
A split second too. I mean, it was like boop boop. I mean, how I just
The good thing is that you actually hear the slap before the
Yeah.
camera ever moves off her.
Exactly. That's what makes it credible for me, because I'm
And
like,
that's why we used it.
But
Yeah.
see, that just gives you an example about how hard we are on our evidence.
Yeah.
You know, I
Or
mean, even
scrutinize
though it is literally just a millisecond that the camera breaks and comes back, it's because the camera breaks and comes back that we're just like, we don't feel comfortable posting this because somebody's going to say it happened during that camera turning.
right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So my next question was for you. On your bucket list of locations as a team, what would one location be that you've never gone to before?
1, 2, 3.
Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
And Penhurst.
Say that one more time.
Yeah.
Trans-Allegheny
Lunatic
Okay.
Asylum. Yep.
Okay. And is there a specific reason why, or?
It's a loony bin. Hell yeah, let's go.
I mean it's
Well,
so
my house
massive.
is loony bin. Come investigate it.
Like it's so massive, it's so active. It's just a very interesting place that we've always wanted to go. Like we tend to have really good results because we've investigated several like medical facilities. And we tend to have really good results when we investigate medical facilities. And you know, my bucket list place for the longest time was Waverly Hills, and I've been 3 times and I can't wait to go back. But Trans-Allegheny we've never been to, and we have always been like, okay, this year's going to be the year, and then we get busy and then we forget to
laugh.
go.
Yes, Doug, those are my people. Yes.
We walk into loony bins and Shelly's like, I'm home.
I'm like, hello, friends, I'm back.
You guys been
And
to
they
Waverly
come to me.
You guys been to Waverly Hills 3 times.
Yes.
Me and Shelly have. Blake, it was your first time this last time.
I've only been once. These two, that way,
Mhm.
whatever way it is. Anyways, I'm not good at this reverse mirror shit.
Yeah.
These two have been more than me. I've been one time, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, now how was it for your first time, Blake, going there?
Okay, so for me, this is gonna be interesting because these two, did I get it right? No, I didn't get it right. There we go. These two, they right. I know I'm trying to figure out
The windshield wiper.
So I have this theory that I can't see shadow figures. I don't know why. I mean, well, I guess unless they want, because I see the one in my house. But when we're on location and all that kind of shit, like every time these two point out, do you see it? Do you see it? I'm looking like, I don't see fucking shit. What are y'all looking at? And so like the whole time we were at Waverly, like everybody in the group was seeing the same shadow figures except for little old me. But I will say that it was still a really good investigation because probably the craziest thing I've ever seen and witnessed happened up on the 5th floor, the smaller where they had the most critical patients and the children and stuff, was whenever me and Rhonda went up there. We were standing up there and we were getting questions. And basically they were saying things like, it hurts. And I said, what can we do for it to hurt less? And this man, plain as day, comes through and he goes, get Shelly. And then another man behind it goes, Shelly. And her name got called within about maybe a minute. She got called about 8 to 10 times over and over. And I said,
and
okay.
One man goes, call her
yeah.
now. Yeah.
And so I just said out loud, I was like, we got a Paralight and a REM pod. I said, if it is Shelly that you are wanting, I said, you need to light one of those up. And I said, no, I've got a radio. I'll radio her right now. And immediately the REM pod just starts going off and it's holding over there. And I was like, all right, I'm getting her. So of course I panicked these two because I'm like, I need Shelly to the 5th floor right now. And without any other words of what's going on. And so here comes Shelly like through the door. She's like, what's that?
I was like, somebody better be dead. I'm like,
I was like, no, nobody's dying. They just want to talk to you. And she's like, seriously?
Because for all I knew, somebody got jumped or something. Because see, I didn't have the radio. Ryan had the radio.
Yeah.
And all I hear, because I'm farther down the hallway than Ryan is need Shelly to the 5th floor right now. I'm like, oh shit! I go, okay, I'm going. Tell him I'm going, and I just take off running. And meanwhile, we're on the 3rd floor, and I'm running up these stairs.
And I'm watching this green mist go in and out of one of these rooms, and I turn around, I'm like, Shelly, where the hell she going?
So, what's funny is I know that in from me watching, your guys' podcasts and stuff like that. They're attracted to Shelly. Spirits are really attracted to you. They're always calling you out, right?
Yeah, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
Well, like Alicia says, though. Alicia says that every time, when we go to investigations, like we were at Ashmore and they kept asking for Alicia. I want to say, I can't remember if it was Lily or Vanessa, but one of them was under Estes method, and they kept asking for Alicia and for help. And it was a pretty cool experience with that. But I have another quick question. What was the most wildest location, the most active location that you guys have ever been?
Oh,
Well,
shit.
we got okay.
That's
Well,
like-
wait
that's
a minute.
like
you kind of
asking-
have.
We have we have
Yeah.
different
Like
categories.
knocking noise, like concrete evidence, knocking noises, shuffling noises.
Oh, jeez. If you want to, okay, do you want to talk Texas? You want to talk United States? Do you want to talk worst things that happen? Most things that happen? What can you narrow it down?
I would say,
Criteria.
okay, let's go with this one. The worst thing that happened, like to where it affected you guys, like where you just had to take a break for a
You
moment.
guys ready? One,
No.
2, 3. Yorktown,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Mhm.
No,
Yorktown.
no.
From the last time we went.
The last time, yeah.
It's a toss up in my opinion between Yorktown and Old Park, honestly.
Well, Old Park's the other one, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yorktown this last time was pretty freaking intense. Yeah. That
was.
was having somebody completely taken over.
I mean, absolutely jumped 100%.
And the
So-
time prior at Old Park, I had been affected so badly.
had
I
been
wanted to
affected
beat the
so
hell out of every
horribly.
man I saw, and I was screwed up for 2 weeks.
The one at
So-
Yorktown though, as level of darkness, let's put it on that
It's a
level. I
big
would
difference.
definitely put Yorktown ahead of it because
Mhm.
that's also probably one of the more active places that we've been. We've captured a lot of evidence there, a lot of great Estes sessions, but that's what we were doing is we were in the chapel. And we were kind of getting confirmation. We've always kind of believed, like, we're not the team to cry demon, or anything
Not at
like that all the time.
Right.
That's really kind of the only place that we three are like, yeah, we think that this might be that.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
something
And
funky there.
it's kind of like this last time that we were there, we kind of got confirmation of that whenever I was leading an Estes method with Shelly was under, Rhonda was under, and we had a psychic medium there, and he had told me, he was like, no, this thing's been brought here, and the soul that brought it here is tethered to it. And so I started kind of asking that questions. I was like, were you brought in here? And Shelly is answering me directly. She's like, yes, in the middle of an Estes. And I said, is he tethered to you? And she's like, yes. But then Rhonda says there's two. And I said, oh, you have two that are tethered. And Shelly goes, that's correct. And I said, it's not your right to hold them. And I said, you need to let them go. And Shelly goes, and you need to stop. And I was like, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to back down. I was like, let them go. And I started challenging it, probably stupidly. But I'll admit that. And then we get to a point where Shelly starts saying wrong way, or look away, something along that line. And I
was
hear
going wrong way,
sing-songy, like
wrong
mocky.
way,
Yeah.
wrong way. And that's what I was hearing. So that's how I was saying it.
And it's about that time that I hear from behind me what sounded like a disembodied voice was this voice just go, get out now. And I paused for a second. I was like, what was that? And I look behind me. It is a woman that is behind me sitting in the pew, and she's like this. And I just look at her and I say her name, and I was like, look at me. Are you okay? Didn't answer me. Just complete freaking blank stare. And I called her name again. I said, are you okay? And I walked over and I tapped her on her shoulder. And I mean, like, if the camera's me, she just goes. And I went, I was like, shut this down. Get her out right now. So I shut it down. They start to get her out, and they pull her out of the pew, and she just collapses.
Jelly legged completely.
Just collapses. So me and Ryan get up underneath her arms and just hoist her up.
Yeah.
We end up carrying her out. We get her laid down on the ground. And luckily we had an ordained minister that was there as well. And she just slams her hand on her forehead and she starts screaming, you leave this woman, get out of here, get out of her now. And actually in the video, when we went back to watch it, we were all shocked because in the moment where she's laying on the ground and that hand is on her forehead, The lady's eyes are completely open, but they are solid black.
Mm-hmm.
There is not a stitch of white in her
Nope.
eye whatsoever. And there is a light source that is right here by her head. And there's nothing. It's solid black. So level of darkness and how real shit can get, that's Yorktown.
Yorktown for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild, you guys. Did she snap out of it? Like,
She did.
It took a
It
while.
took about 30, 45 minutes to get her back where she felt like she could
'Cause-
sit up. Now, granted,
Yeah.
I will say this. The people that were there with us that night were the exact right people
Oh my
because
God,
there
yes.
was no hesitation. Everybody went and
Yeah.
threw their hands on her and started trying to channel off energy. And everybody was pulling. We had our ordained minister was saying the prayers, and we were all like moving to where we thought we needed to be. And what was odd was that we have a great guy that goes with us that he actually can see the things that are attached to people, and he does a lot of the healing, the spiritual healing. And I got right up by his shoulder and I put my hands on her shoulder, and it was like I got this like boom of energy that was like, and I looked at him and I go, my God, this is a female, whatever this is female. And he looked at me and he goes, yeah. And so it was like he kept putting his hands on top of mine, and his hands were so hot. It was weird. His hands were like hot, like he was pulling it off. The ordained minister's still going. She starts saying St. Michael's prayer. And after a little while, the lady finally felt like she could sit up. And whenever she did, she just looked around and she goes, why is everyone looking at me? Had no clue what had just happened. And
Completely lost time.
she was so embarrassed that she goes, why is everyone looking at me? And her eyes were getting teary. And that was probably the most frightening moment I've ever had as an investigator, because thank God everybody was there, because we were doing our best to channel off the, see, it still says we talk about it, because it's like, that's somebody we know that we're very close to. And
yeah,
that moment of trying to deem, is it a medical emergency, is it a spiritual emergency, it was very, very hard. And we watched it back, and when we went to watch it back, it was difficult. It was very hard.
That was very hard to watch back. But all in all, it took us about 30, 45 minutes to, once we knew that she was being taken over, she had already lost about 25 to 30 minutes prior to that, based on the Estes methods we were doing before. We figured out she remembers watching the first group go under an Estes method. Well, we run ours for investigators like that upwards of 15 minutes. We had 2 sessions before we hit Shelly and Rhonda, who went for probably about 10 minutes. So she was already at about a 30-minute mark right there. And then an additional 30 to 45 minutes to get it off her. She probably lost anywhere between an hour and a half of total time.
Mm-hmm.
wow. Have you guys ever shared that video with anybody else?
We have only shared it on Patreon.
Yeah.
Okay.
On our Patreon channel. That's
Right.
the only place.
That
the
gave
only-
me
And she
go
did
there.
tell us it was okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is as for now the only place that we will
Right.
share it, because something that to that level is a very personal attack, a very personal experience. We don't feel that it's right to just blast it out all over the internet when somebody is so vulnerable in that moment.
Right.
So
Right.
I agree.
And it is hard to watch. It is not for the faint of heart. Because
It's just as intense as it gets.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
See,
you
I-
can actually hear the fear in our voices,
right.
you know.
To lose that much time from something that tried to take over,
Successfully did take over.
Yeah.
It did take over.
I couldn't imagine the feeling and even the aftermath of maybe the effects that she had. Did she have?
She said
Yes.
it took her a couple of weeks to get right.
It took a couple of weeks, to get fully right.
And I actually saw her 2 days ago, and she's still working through a little bit of it. It's 99.99% gone. But I did see her, 2 days ago. I guess I saw her on Saturday. And she thinks it's pretty much gone, but she's still working with the gentleman who we work with a lot to keep her on that balanced level.
Right.
So Yeah,
Well, good for you guys.
it's pretty much gone. But
That's, whew, just from hearing it. I mean, let alone being there and witnessing it. It's just wild. Damn.
Right. And like I said, like we were talking about, that's the only place that we think there possibly maybe could be something demonic. Because,
and I don't know why we don't just say outright that it is,
Right.
because we've all gotten confirmation of it. But I guess
True.
it's because how skeptical that we are
Right.
still about it is that
Right.
we're just not willing to just label something just straight out
Right.
as demonic,
Because
Right.
I mean,
because most
we've
times
come
it's
across.
yeah.
Right. And we've come across like nasty ass spirits. And if you're an asshole in life, you're going to be an asshole in death. And
Yep.
9 times out of 10, that's what you're dealing with. When you're dealing with
Yep.
something that's dark, but there's that 0.5%, that
Yep.
there is something that is
That's
beyond your comprehension that could be going on there,
Yep. Man.
So that's one of them places.
So now I have a really good question for you guys. If you guys had the opportunity, and maybe you already have, to stay at a location overnight by yourselves, nobody but yourself, what would that
we've
location
done it. One that if I could get Trans-Allegheny all night by myself, you better believe it.
Right. I would like Waverly's my favorite place to investigate.
I love Waverly.
I would love to have Waverly by myself.
We have
one night.
had
That would be
Waverly
cool.
by ourselves.
We have, but like I think you're talking like by yourself, like one person, or like group wise.
Solo. Yep, solo.
Okay, Waverly. I would love to have Waverly by myself one night. That'd be cool.
Y'all
Okay.
fucking crazy.
No, I'd take Trans-Allegheny. You
My
better
ass
believe
ain't
it.
staying nowhere by myself. Listen, I am Derek. You and I get along great. We'll just put it that way. No, all right, I'll play along. If I had to have one location to myself, oh shit. Well, Ryan took Waverly and Shelly has Trans-Allegheny. So, I don't know.
How about Joliet Prison?
I know.
Yeah, you have a lot of fun there.
I was about to say I'm probably going to catch some what for this, but I don't know. West Virginia State Pen would like
Buddy.
call my
Oh,
name.
you don't want that
Buddy,
one by
you
yourself.
I
don't
know,
want that.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
y'all want me to play along here, that is one that is on my bucket list. Would I want it by myself? Absolutely not. But
Go to the Sugar Shack by yourself for about 5 minutes, and you'll be like, "Nope."
I know. But I will tell you, I will not. I can't. I believe in having at least somebody else with you, because you never know
it's really not
what's going to
safe
happen.
to hunt by yourself,
Yeah.
because you need a partner, because sometimes you're being affected and you don't realize it, but they can see it.
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say, the reason I say Waverly is because I know there is nothing there that is malicious and will hurt you. Like, it's just people who died, who don't quite know what happened, and it's a lot of them, and they want to communicate, and they will talk to you all night long and show themselves to you all night long. And that is a lot of, I mean, that's your dream as a paranormal investigator, but I know for sure that there's nothing there that is going to be angry and hurt me.
Right.
I don't know. I think, and don't get me wrong, I am the one in on the team that I will lay on the autopsy tables, get in the morgue coolers, climb in a coffin. Like, I'm not afraid to do any of that. It is what it is. But staying by myself, that's just a whole next. I'll go solo in a location as long as, there's other people in the location. I just think that, I don't know, if I had to choose one, West Virginia, but it's not smart to investigate by yourself, in my opinion.
And me, I always wander off by myself. So being by myself, half the time they're looking around going, where the hell did she go? And I'm like, I'm in the basement.
I'm like, son of a bitch, there goes that blonde hair down the hallway. I gotta go follow her and make
or we get the same answer you get the answer that we got that one time, Ryan. Guys, come check out the air conditioning system. Yeah. I found it.
This fool wanted me to crawl into the damn ductwork. I'm like, no.
I was in there. I found it. I was ready to go.
Can you see my big fat ass shimmying through some ductwork somewhere?
I was in the duct system going, hey guys, I found the duct system.
You're also about a foot shorter than me and about 200 pounds lighter than I am too.
Okay, so Alicia says, and Tom say, ask me where I would say.
Okay, where would you go and stay and investigate by your lonesome?
a Whitey's ice cream joint.
An ice cream joint? Is Whitey's regional?
Anywhere with food.
Oh, okay.
All jokes aside, if I did have a, which it'll never happen. I'm with you, Blake. I just won't never do it. But if I wanted to, I'd say Broadhead. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, Broadhead's cool. There is, it's really cool. I like Broadhead a lot.
Yeah, it's never rubbed me off the wrong way.
Right.
And if I was challenged to do an overnight by myself, 100%, it would be at Broadhead with the lights on.
Now, let me ask you this question: would you go to sit down there with the janitor all night long?
No.
Okay, he's the one. He's the one thing in Broadhead that I'm like, I don't know if I like this guy. But other than
that area didn't bother me. Now I will tell you, because we did solos in Broadhead as well, where we all broke up and went to different areas while the others stayed kind of in the kitchen or downstairs. And I will tell you, one of the freakiest things that can happen to you is whenever it's your turn, and so you take the camera and you hand the radio to Ryan, because we have, you trade off or whatever. Because we have radios in case we get into trouble, and you are about to walk up. I go to the third floor, and I'm about to go get my spot, and Ryan has lovingly handed the radio over to Sir Sexy or Bill Walter, and all I hear, it freaked me out at first, because all I hear is a disembodied voice. I didn't catch that it was the walkie-talkie at first, and all it says is, "I'm coming to get you," and I was like, oh, I'm gonna beat their ass. So.
And here he comes stomping down.
I walk my ass back down the stairs. Let me tell you something.
And I'm standing there going, I told him not to do it. I'm like, Brian was in charge of the radio, not me.
No, I would.
Bill did it, not me.
Broadhead is in my opinion, Broadhead is one of those that I don't mind going off by myself there.
No, not at all.
There's that. I like the spirits that are there. They're friendly. They play. The only one that really has gotten to me is one of the elementals that were there that kicked me out of the building for about 30 minutes last time I was there.
Yep. Bill, earlier in the chat, Bill said, the third floor.
I love the third floor.
We had an incident where we was with Brandon and Sydney over at Strictly Paranormal, and we were up there till like 3 or 4 in the morning. And all of a sudden, Brandon, he just was like, I'm kind of feeling a little, kind of like he was going to pass out, and he passes out for maybe like 30 seconds. And then he comes back up, and he didn't know what happened. I think they say if you stay up there for like a long amount of time, that it's not really a good thing. I don't know if it's like, I don't want to say it's not a good thing, but like,
you can be affected.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that was a lesson learned.
And that's funny because that's the only place I wanted to be at Broadhead was on that third floor. I was loving that third floor. That's exactly where I wanted to go. When they said we're doing solos, I'm like, I'm taking third floor classroom. That's where I want to go.
Okay. And see, I didn't spend a lot of time in that classroom area, but I would definitely like to do that next time. And also the janitor, like you said, I gotta face my fears, so it's just, there's something about that long curved hallway.
Right. Back up into the wall down there. Yeah,
dude. Yeah.
You should watch our Paraflix episode on Broadhead. We have a couple of interesting things in the janitor's area.
Yeah.
During for that.
Nice.
I thought that hallway outside in front of the gym's a little freaky too, man, because when we were there the first time we ever went there, Bill had lovingly made lasagna that was fantastic.
Oh,
and
God, it was good.
we were getting ready to eat, and I look out into the hallway, and this big black shadow figure goes walking by the door. And I'm looking at it, and at first I was like, maybe one of the dogs had got out and was like, and I look down, and both of the dogs are right here, and I look around, I'm like, anybody else seeing this? As it slowly slinks past the door, and I was like,
and Blake and I were sitting on this side of the table, right? So we couldn't see it. We whip our head around. I'm like, what in the hell are you pointing at?
Because I couldn't. I was like, have you ever seen Courage the Cowardly Dog? I was like, it's It's right there. I can't get the words out. Turn around. So that was, yeah. I mean that whole building is really cool. I do like that building a whole lot.
Broadhead is a great location.
Yes.
Broadhead is an awesome location. If you can get the spirits to play, it is just going to produce really good evidence for you.
So I wanted to play a little clip from, we were talking earlier about when I first met you guys, and you guys were using the spirit dice. Shelly and Ryan were with me, and we had the epic box and the ghost box going. I'm going to play a little clip here that I wanted to share with everybody. And this is the very first time that I've met you guys. You guys were like warm welcome in. And I kind of took a 17-minute video, but broke it down into like one of the best things that I thought was really cool. So let me show you guys real quick.
Yeah, please. We want her to answer a question. Yes. Okay, good. You understand. Thank you. Okay, Sam, I'm going to say the floor. And if you will tell me which floor, we will go and walk the hallway. Okay? And you can tell us if we're close to where your medals are. Were your medals in the display case on the first floor? No, the second. Did you hear that? No, the second. Thank you. Thank you, Sam, because I think she said second last
Sam,
time.
can you confirm on this device if that was on the second floor?
Remember, touch. You have to touch it. I can't set it off.
No.
Okay, so she said no. Thank you for the direct response.
So
clear.
No.
Incredible EVP coming out of that ghost box, because it was literally the same female voice throughout the whole entire and the speed, the rate or whatever was so fast. It was sweeping so fast. It's like, and to have that clear of and direct response to what you were asking, Shelly, I thought, and I didn't even hear it in live. Like, you heard it. I didn't hear it actually say that until I went back, and I'm like, I'll be damned, it did say, but you caught it, which, I mean, that's who you guys are. Like, you guys are really good investigators, and you guys even taught me a few being there too, you know. So,
well, the thing is with the spirit box, and it does, no matter what spirit box you're running, you have to teach your ear to listen for those words. And I immediately identify legitimate answers versus bleeds versus pieces of a radio, advertisement or song. And once you train your ear to do it, it gets a lot easier. But for a lot of people, when they first start out, and I'd never even seen your box. It's just, and I think I was the one that told you to run it as fast as it would go. That would eliminate your bleeds, or they wouldn't be as obvious. So, yeah. But once you train your ear, it gets a lot easier.
Yep. So I've had some pretty cool stuff come out, but nothing like that. I thought it was really cool. So I just wanted to share it with everybody because you guys were a part of that, and you guys are awesome. So
thanks, man.
Thank you.
With that being said, I want to kind of end this podcast with basically telling everybody where they can find you, what platforms that you guys have, and everything like that.
All right, Blake, tell me everything
that's this man's job down here.
Oh yeah, so let's see here. We have got first and foremost that we have the Everything Vaguely Paranormal podcast, which is live on Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we cover everything from cryptids, UFOs, paranormal hauntings, evidence, reviews. We do live Q&A from time to time, true crime. We cover it all. That's why we're Everything Vaguely Paranormal. So you can catch us on Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Again, that's Facebook, YouTube, and that is Central Standard Time. On top of that, we also have the Paraflix platform that we have After Dark with EVP. We have season 1, season 2 out now, and we will be filming season 3 here shortly. That is more paranormal hunting and special guest focus. So if you want more of the ghostly stuff, you can sign up on that. You can find our Linktree link on our Facebook, which will take you to every link that we possibly have, including all of our social media channels, public investigations. We also have a Patreon channel that we have well over 400 extra Patreon exclusive videos. raw paranormal evidence. Some of the footage that we talked about tonight is on there. That is $5 a month. If you want to sign up for that, that goes directly back to what we do. Other than that, that's pretty much, I think that's pretty much about everywhere that you can find us.
Yeah. And
I
if
mean,
you
we-
want to get in touch with the show,
Yeah, you can email us at the evppod@gmail.com, THEEVPPOD@gmail.com. And then also you want to search everything Vaguely Paranormal on social media channels. Look for that green sound wave in the back.
and then go like, share, and subscribe to that Facebook and that YouTube page.
Yeah.
We got the whole wrap up for you. How about that?
And I want to say, if you guys want to see these guys live, I think October, is it 5th, you guys will be at the Rock Island Roadhouse Paracon.
We will.
will
We will.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So,
we
yeah.
Coming up to hang out with you guys again.
Yep. So if you guys want to come hang out with all of us, Eternal Paranormal, everything Vaguely Paranormal, if you guys want to talk to them, see them live, then come to the Rock Island Roadhouse October 5th. It'll be a really good time. So I want to thank everyone. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on this show. I had a really good
Sure,
time.
man.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us anytime, man.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, guys. Well, until the next time, we will see you guys later.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye, y'all.